Does Sea of Thieves offer single-player mode now with Safer Seas? Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Pixelated Quest and today we will be looking at the new game mode in Sea of Thieves called Safer Seas. Now, first thing you need to understand, Safer Seas is not a straightforward single-player mode which you would normally have in a game with classic single-player. On December 7, 2023, Rare released a new update to Sea of Thieves which hyped old-school gamers and who were at that point not just saying to Rare, give us single player, but almost yelling at them. While PvP, the core and only game mode of Sea of Thieves since its release back in 2018 on Xbox and later in 2020 on Steam, there were a lot of players of Sea of Thieves asking Rare to introduce single player mode to the game, me being one of them. After what has seemed to be a waiting game for years, Rare finally announced back in September 2023 that they will be introducing a new game mode to Sea of Thieves, titled Safer Seas. Now don't get me wrong, Sea of Thieves as a PvP based game is good. I enjoyed it and I have played it a lot, but I personally never had the feeling I could enjoy and explore the game world just because of the super aggressive nature of the PvP system, which allows other players to essentially strip you of all of your loot just on your way back from a 3 to 4 hour gaming session to an outpost where you wanted to sell your loot and collect your rewards. Now this has happened to me a bunch of times. I played mostly solo for a few hours per each session, completing a voyage or a reputation mission at a time. And when sailing back to an outpost, I seemed to always have the luck of encountering a galleon or a brigantine of other players. And this was always the point in the game I knew I was roasted. So normally I would just every few nautical miles throw away my loot in the hopes of them stop following me. Well, this never worked out, but still. So you can only imagine how excited I was when I hear that Sea of Thieves is getting a single player mode. Now, what is Safer Seas? Safer Seas is a suitable game mode if you, just like me, are not comfortable playing against other players. Essentially, Safer Seas offers a gameplay that is paced by how you want it to be, without constantly looking over your shoulder and into the spyglass and scanning the horizon for other potential players. Safer Seas offers you to enjoy the seas of plenty at your own pace, which is fantastic. So naturally, I played Safer Seas, and here's my take on it. I started off as I would normally, by buying a storage crate. Keep this in mind for the end of this video. Then I desecrated every possible barrel I could find on the island where I started off at, and had stashed my sloop completely full with items that I likely will never consume during this session. But hey, better safe than sorry, right? So I picked a quest that I normally would not do in high seas. Oh, by the way, the other mode, the base mode with PvP, is now called High Seas. I went to the Order of Souls, picked a quest and also picked up a few treasure maps along the way, just so I can forget about them being in my inventory later on. But even here, I picked mostly the islands I would never go visit in the PvP mode, the Volcano Islands, which are very volatile and take up a lot of time. And just by having the Safer Seas option and not having to worry about other players, I could afford the luxury of focusing only on my main quest and my missions. So I set off to do the first chapter in the Order of Souls voyage. While sailing with my trusted monkey companion, we spotted a skeleton ship in the distance. This is something I would never do in PvP mode. Try to engage with the skeleton ship. I tried to harass the skeletons for a while with my gun before moving to the cannons. My disastrous aim most likely made them feel pity with me, hence why they seemed unamused by my attention calls. At this point, I decided it was time to continue the voyage and leave the skeletons be. After reaching the first island on my voyage, the Castaway Isle, I positioned myself in a way that any pirate legend would be proud of, a strategical maneuver which I only realized afterwards. Making use of the firebombs and the cannons, I destroyed the waves of skeleton creatures directly from my ship with the cannon. Again, all thanks to my ingenious strategic positioning, which was not part of the plan, but as a good pirate, I embraced it. Once the wave of skeletons were cleared, I collected the loot and onwards we went. The voyage leads us now to Crooks Hollow, making our way through the calming waters of Seas of Plenty, which I can now safely and without the fear of getting mugged behind every wave and island enjoy the water and crack a tune with my pet monkey. Upon reaching our destination, I spot an abandoned rowboat which I will make use of later. The first wave of skeletons emerge and we are in full fighting mode again. Clearing the first wave and starting the second, one of the gunpowder skeletons drops the gunpowder keg which I make use of. Again, more skeletons emerge with even more gunpowder kegs. See, the thing is, every time I see one of the skeletons emerge with a gunpowder keg, I ask myself, do you exist to punish me or to punish yourself along with your friends? Once the last captain skeleton is cleared, I gather the bounty skulls, put them in the rowboat I found earlier and start rowing towards my ship. Once I by mere luck manage to align my rowboat with my ship, I store everything away and to the next adventure we go. Thieves' Heaven this time. Find it on the map and set sails. Crack another tune on the way just before we are warmly greeted by the locals of Thieves' Heaven. Thank you for that, skeleton, I will be thanking you in a moment. Once anchored, I make my way up and find the welcoming committee and say hi. While trying to shoot the golden skeletons, I realize I need water to stop and kill them, which might be a problem as I'm on a cliff. So I change my tactics and run around until I find a water spring. Grab some water, eat a bite and annihilate them. Going back, grabbing more water while waiting for the next wave. In between, I find myself with fire bombs that I throw at the skeletons, which seem as effective as squirting them with water and shooting. Now the next wave appeared and the good old faithful gunpowder keg skeleton emerged. You can only imagine my excitement seeing him around. This should be short-lived, however. I immediately proceed shooting the keg and destroying all the skeletons around and putting myself on fire while doing so. Now on fire, I try to get to the water spring, which at this point might be my only hope, so I figured. But then, yeah. The good old faithful Ferry of the Damned. Oh boy, did I miss you, Ferry of the Damned, the stories we have shared and the time we have spent together. Good times indeed. Let me put it this way, if Ferry of the Damned was a stadium, I would get season tickets gifted by it, due to the amount of times I was here. This is how much times I landed on the Ferry of the Damned. Returning back to the Seas of Plenty, I deal with the last surviving skeletons and collect the loot before making my way back to my ship. While returning, I spot a small skeleton ship. And again, this being a somewhat single-player mode, I naturally set sail after them. Takes me a while to navigate through the narrow space of Thieves' Heaven, but eventually I make it and start pursuing the skeleton ship. After a few minutes, I engage with some friendly fire, making myself noticed to them before engaging into cannoning. All of a sudden, they make a move exactly to my sweet spot of my cannon, enabling me to look like a player that has operated the cannons since forever without barely missing a shot. This proves to be their fateful mistake. After they sink, I fix my boat and start collecting the drop loot from the skeleton ship. And a nice little pink fish in the distance welcomes me also. Now I have completed 3 chapters of the voyage. It's time for the final chapter. The final chapter takes me to Devil's Ridge. The usual skeleton waves start attacking me, with the first 2 waves being just the normal ones that you can easily just shoot at and destroy, followed by 2 waves of golden skeletons and again 2 waves of normal skeletons, including the captain. Once I slaughter all of them, I collect the various bounty skulls and head back to my ship. With everything on board, I am ready to sell my fortune to the Order of Souls. Sailing off to the nearest trading post, which is Ancient Spire Outpost. After a miraculous landing at the harbor without completely destroying my ship, which is always something to be proud of, I make my way to the Order of Souls on the island. At this point, I'm happy with my loot, but this won't last very long. You see, this is the point where Safer Seas becomes much less rewarding than the old base version High Seas. Selling all of my collected loot, for which I have worked for the past 2 hours, will amount to a total of around 1,300 gold coins, plus all the other crap I managed to collect during this voyage. I reeled in a total of a little over 2000 gold coins. Now, do you remember at the beginning of this video I said remember this storage crate for later? Well, you see, the storage crate that I bought set me back 5000 gold coins, and after completing the entirety of this voyage, including the main quest of it, and picking up any other loot I could find along the way, and after a good 2 hours of playtime, I'm looking at a grand total of around minus 2000 gold coins, which I personally find disappointing. Safer Seas does not feel rewarding at all, and I understand that. Rare needs to have players in the high seas for the microtransactions and all other sorts of things that they are offering. But wait, Safer Seas is technically not really a single player at all. While you are playing on your own without any other players, you can still invite your friends or guild members to join in the Safer Seas session. So why are the rewards of Safer Seas that much devalued as on high seas? This is because what the developers called reduced risk. I personally don't like this, as I did the same mission you would have in high seas with the same time invested, but just because I like to play alone, I'm being punished for it? Sure feels that way. Being what it is, Safer Seas is a phenomenal addition to Sea of Thieves that offers the players a chance to actually explore and enjoy this fantastic environment, feel the absolutely gorgeous sunsets that the game offers, and additionally also the chance to play the game at your own pace, even allowing to replay the Telltale adventures. Now for some reviews. Once the Safer Seas part of the game was available, it was a whole lot funner to pop on with friends, not having to worry about being ganked and robbed by other players just because was way more relaxing and fun. They did it. They added PvE servers. It's basically perfect now. Now that they have a cool PvE offering, this game is worth playing. It will improve more once the devs learn that PvE is what will breathe new life into the game moving forward. Safer Seas is something a lot of players in Sea of Thieves have been asking for years, including myself. Hats off to the developers for making this finally happen and listening to their community. So, should you play Sea of Thieves? Do you like Caribbean vibes, pirates, gorgeous sunsets, adventures, booze, shooting and plundering? If so, then Sea of Thieves is most likely something you could enjoy either on high seas or safer seas. In the words of one reviewer of Sea of Thieves, fun stuff, frick me. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to my channel and leaving a like or a comment. This would help me make more such videos and grow my channel. See you next time and have a wonderful day.